and we can't just wait for you to jump in and let us know what and how you are doing. That would be so exciting. And we also have Vinay ji, who is joining at the back end. However, I would love to introduce him for the work he's doing. He is a Chief Executive Director of Agriculture Research and Development Center, CRDF. He is he's a farmer mental health researcher as well. He is a policymaker, a social entrepreneur. He is working, he's also founder of Shivar Foundation, and he wrote a beautiful book about providing the solution for farmer suicide. So it would be so nice of you, it is so nice of you for the work that you are doing, and we would love to hear from you the ground challenges and the change that you're bringing to this world. So thank you everyone once again, and a round of applause to what the work you are doing. That's really great, and I'm so excited to see young youth coming up and doing so much work. So with that, I would like our first panelist, Tanushree Singh, to say a few words of how this work that you're doing, you got involved, and what was the motivation behind it?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Shweta, and thank you, Dr. Amit and the organizer for inviting me. I hope I'm audible. Okay. So my name is Tanushree Singh, and I run a startup called Basic. We are trying to fix the fundamentals in food. We make modern comfort foods using ancient grains, which means we make bajra choco chip, which is pearl millet choco chip cookie, pearl millet brownies, or sorghum naan khatais, all sorts of comfort food, but with millets, 100% millets, and with natural fats and sugars. The second interesting thing that we do is we take care of the millet right from the sowing stage, from seed standardization of the millet till packaging and delivering it to consumers. We take care of it's a crop to cookie brand. Our background, three founders, our background is nutrition science and food science primarily. I have done my doctorate in clinical nutrition. So yeah, this is what we do. And about what motivated me to do this, while I was pursuing my doctorate in Gujarat, and the work hours were crazy, 16, 18 hours in a day. And obviously the food was challenged, since I don't cook. So I was very heavily dependent on the outside food. And I could not find a single snack or a single packet which can, which can give me some sort of happiness that, okay, if I'm eating it for maybe for months, I won't be sick 10 years down the line, or I won't have diabetes or such issues. So what I used to do is I used to call my rich friends and ask them to, why don't you guys start some business? Why don't you make good biscuits? And I am a huge chai biscuit fan. Chai tea, I hope a lot of people know that. So meanwhile, a few years later, my co-founder, who's a friend also, she met people from the startup ecosystem, and we got this idea. So let's do something with millets. So we started our pilot in an apartment. We started making cakes and stuff, and people liked it. And then we applied for a grant to Ministry of Agriculture, India, and we won it, fortunately. And then yes, since then we haven't looked back, and we are trying to build a food brand from India, which is based 100% millet, but have extremely plush and extremely, global standards. So we're kind of using ancient wisdom with modern technology, and using our heritage as Indian. We are using our heritage in terms of food and the taste of it.
Wow. Nutrition and food, I guess, mixing both authentic and healthy food. That is so great. And I just can't wait myself to taste that. So with that, Lindsay, why don't I would like you to let us know your journey in YOCILB and CAED, the work that you're doing, the social problems you're working on.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think like I will start by saying like the future of business is agribusiness. So if you're not taking agriculture, I think like you're missing out. And that is why I think like we have the wealthiest people, like the billionaires that we know of. We have people like Jeff Bezos. We have people like Bill Gates. They are investing so much into the agricultural sector, and that's the future of agribusiness. I think like if we are looking at it critically, the next generation of billionaires are going to come from the agri sector if we consider that. So that, I think my passion, my drive, it's if you come from where I come from, most young people, they view agriculture as something for the old, and also they think like it has to be dirty, it has to be that. So it's just about transforming that mindset, where we move from not seeing agriculture, and that is what CEAT Africa is all about, transforming that mindset where we move from not viewing agriculture as just a way of life, but as a business, where it's not just something for the old, but it's something where young people can come into and make the best out of it. And I think like when it comes to CEAT Africa and it comes to us working with young people, when you look at it critically, and I always say this, like over 60% of young people in Africa, of the African population, is like young people that are below 24 years old. And Africa has like over 60% of the world arable land. And I always say there's no reason why Africa should depend like on other regions or so for food. And that's the reasons why we have to get more young people into the agricultural sector. And that's why for us at CEAT Africa, we try to shift this mindset by providing young people with training, investment, and a market for their products. So we don't just want them to come like, because if we look at it, you analyze the market, you analyze the challenges that young people have. It boils down to three things: lack of knowledge, lack of investment, and lack of clear understanding of the market. And that's where CEAT Africa comes in. And also, I think like what we're trying to do very much is bring the business into the sector, because for I think like most of the times it has always been about a way of life. It has always been about, let me just go there, cultivate something that I could eat. But now we are changing that. We're making them understand this is a business and this is a volume business. And to make this especially interesting and engaging for young people, we have to bring in the business aspect and we have to bring in technology. You will agree with me that the world is becoming so tech centric that if we don't bring in, and young people are so, I think like they're crazy about tech. Anything that goes with tech, they want to get engaged in. And that's for us why we're trying to leverage on that, why we're trying to bring in technology into the space, where young people understand that cool, agriculture with technology could actually also use tech to maybe like scale your farm, whether it's greenhouse technology, whether it's food processing. You could use tech to literally just do anything that you want into the food sector. And I think like if we're also looking at critically and we're moving towards expanding towards the way in which the world that we are moving right now is shifting, it's to see how we can leverage on this, and with climate change coming in, how we can leverage on this to increase food security while not just harming our environment. And I think like that is centered to what CEAT Africa is all about and what our work is it's focused on.
Definitely, there are a lot of challenges. However, the work you're doing on ground, motivating the youth and providing with them, guiding them with the technology and everything, that's really motivating. I come from a farmer's family, but I know, I mean, my great grandfathers were doing, but we don't do farming at all right now. Those are like the barren lands, nobody's doing that. That's, I think, what we need, the motivation and the technology that we can bring the change. So thank you, Benze, for this wonderful introduction. And with that, let's jump in a little ahead and start the deeper conversation. And as Tanushree said that, she was looking for a healthy food, healthy snack. So I just want to understand, you are also a nutritionist. So what is this healthy food, and do suggest people to switch from millet to from wheat to millet, considering the farming advantages it had, the water requirement it requires less, yes, also the health benefits. is it something we would also suggest the consumers to do? I mean, to switch completely their diet from this?
The first question is, what is healthy food? So scientifically, any ingredient that is being digested by our gut, human body, and that supports growth and nutrition goals is food. But for us, for people, for general people, food is it not only has some nutritional value, it also have some cultural significance. So anything, any food item, any thing that is obviously being digested by our body, plus it solves it support our well-being, whether physical, mental, cultural, is, I would call that as food. And your second question was whether should I recommend people to switch from wheat to millet? I think so. As a person from scientific background, I don't support absolutism ever. But what I can do is, so there are two things. One is wheat in general, and then there's refined wheat. So our journey as a brand, as Basic, we are fighting. Our fight is against refined wheat, which in India it is called maida. Or so if you scientifically look at it, there's no zero nutritional value in refined wheat. So our goal is to substitute all sorts of refined wheat with millet. So if you're eating a bagel, if you're eating a croissant or a choco chip cookie, we want to make it in millets, number one. As far as the switching is concerned, and so as humans, we were since Mother Nature has granted so many variety of fruits, of grains, of pulses, everything. But as humans, what we did was because of the industrialization, what we did was we were hyper fixated with refined wheat. So if you're eating sandwich or noodles or any such thing, you're eventually eating refined flour. So as a brand, my goal is to diversify that need. Someday maybe you want to eat a refined flour noodle, but you should have the option of eating a choco chip cookie made of a high fiber, nutritionally dense cookie, or a bread which is which can definitely support your nutritional goals, which doesn't have a risk to make you a diabetic in 5 years or 10 years. So I won't ask people to switch from wheat to millet, but I will definitely ask them to diversify their grains and whatever food they are having. Also, I would suggest that anything which is hyper refined or which is ultra processed, I would advise them to not use it.
So just out of curiosity, I want to know, you said refined oil. So the oil that you used in your product, what sort
refined flour, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it also like about the accessibility also when it comes to millet, just, because wheat is easily accessible, and I think a lot of people, especially young youth, like every one of us, we are more, accomplished of using wheat. It is more easily accessible also. So
yeah. So if as a food industry person, if you understand the technology behind wheat is very easy to process. Why? Because it doesn't, and as much as you refine it, it doesn't have any taste value as such. Refined flour doesn't have any taste, so you can make it in vanilla, you can make it in any sort of hazelnut and all sorts of flavors. But for millet, and especially the millet that we are using, like pearl millet, sorghum, they have their own taste, and which is why the composition, like a choco chip cookie or a hazelnut bagel or something like that, is difficult. And why it is difficult, why millets have their own sort of taste, is because they're highly nutritional. They're very dense in terms of nutrients. So, and therefore the technological problems, you have to, first of all, you have to their millets are very hard grain, so the milling is difficult. The baking time is higher. The flavoring is difficult to come up with a kind of recipe which is which is easily which can be easily tasted by people is difficult. So because wheat was easy for industry, refined wheat was easy, so the production got bumped up that time. Especially in India, it is during the green revolution that happened. And obviously, I did not speak about gluten, the wheat protein, which gives shape, sturdiness to the product. Okay, if you're making bread or cookie or noodles, it has to have good amount of gluten. But what we did was we made that gluten. We actually broken the chain of natural gluten and we made it artificial in that terms because of the high yielding varieties and so many other interventions. And now because of the modern gluten, which is technologically very easy for our industry to make products with, but for human consumption, it is there are many research that actually said that modern gluten is responsible for a lot of metabolic problems that we are facing currently. So the accessibility, yes, because the industry, there were very few people who were taking any initiative. People were following other people, because it's easy access, it's easy commerce, the technology is easy, the distribution was easy, it was cheaper, and everything behind that. So the commerce angle and the technological angle, if you see, that's why refined wheat became very accessible to people. And now we're kind of now millets are taking so much time to people are taking time to acquire the taste of millet. For a lot of people find very difficult to, because millet have a typical taste in it and aftertaste about it.
That is very interesting, and I can definitely relate. A lot of people I know, whenever I call a dietitian, they always suggest us to go for a gluten free diet, which is just not possible, especially for vegetarians. I mean, it's very difficult, and now gluten food is causing a lot of diseases in women, especially. So
Yeah.
It's very interesting to know. I was not. That's something very eye-opening, to be honest. So with that, Benze, I would like to know, you are doing a lot of community work, you are a social entrepreneur. How do, as an individual, you got involved in the work that you're doing? What was your, motivation of doing the work that you're doing? I'm sure there are a lot of youth here on this call or later who would be hearing who want to do something in the social sector, who want to do something for the people, but they really don't know how to start. So how was your journey with that?
Okay, thank you very much. I think my passion for youth-centered social cause became my conviction when I learned that once our action, like a single action, can change somebody's life or can change a whole community. And that has been my driving force. I think in 2017, when I started my first initiative, by then it was IOSA, which we later rebranded to SEAD Africa. It was the passion and the conviction that if I do this, because young people didn't see the opportunities in the agricultural sector, if I can do this and if I can bring young people into this space that in such a way that they can explore the opportunities into it, it could literally just transform somebody's life. I think and also it depends on where I come from. I mean, maybe growing up in a small rural community where you see the way people's livelihoods are, and you want to transform that in such a way that it's okay, we can work this food, we can produce this food, but we have to move from just producing it for our households to a global scale or to a global market where we can actually make enough revenue for it to improve our livelihood. And I think also, and I'm going to come back to why I still keep driving this. I yeah, I think like the motivation that at the end of the day, something they could literally just raise something to improve their livelihood has been a driving force for so many young people to see that, okay, there is an opportunity here that we can exploit. I think like moving from that and moving to around 2021, when I organized the GCMX West Africa and brought together 40 young people from 17 African countries to work on the contemporary challenges affecting young people in Africa. I think like that is also like one of the motivation, because you get to understand what other people are going through. You get to empathize with them. You get to understand their challenges. And I feel like building something that resonates with other young people is very important. I have come from when I started like with South Africa, it was a long journey because I didn't know where to start from. I didn't know who to go to, and having a space like Connecting Dreams Foundation, where young people can come together and access like knowledge, access like maybe resources, have a track that they can follow. It's very important, and I think like that has also been like motivation, because I'm somebody that is passionate about providing a path where or providing a space where young people could literally just come together and design something that could not only uplift them but their community as well. I think like that has been like a driving force and a motivation for me.
That is so great. I mean, definitely working at the ground level uh, let us know a lot of things that the book don't teach us. So ground level working teaches us a lot of things, and the way you are working, I mean, taking the whole community together and uplifting the whole community, that's really great. With that, also, Tanushree, we talked about millets, and definitely I understand the wheat and millet has a war going on somewhere for consumers as well in their mind. But what are the biggest challenges that you think that you faced in this industry, or for someone like, let's suppose I want to jump into this industry? What are the challenges you would just let me know that you will face these challenges, and how did you tackle those challenges?
Um, oh, where should I start? The challenge one. So, okay, let's start from the start. When we thought that we'll make pearl millet cakes, we went on to. I mean, we wanted to procure millets, and we searched the markets, the local, we call it mandis, where the grains are there. And we realized, and we tried testing them, the chemical residue and everything, and we got to know that the millets that are available in market for human consumption are of fodder quality. So the camels, horses, and everybody was eating the same millet which we were consuming, and the chemical residue was, oh my god, it was dangerous. So, and then that is how we started becoming a seed sowing brand to packaging brand, and not, it was not our intention. We wanted a easy business. We wanted to just procure millets and quickly make products out of it, but that didn't happen. So we then my co-founder, she connected with local farmers who are actually growing original millets for themselves. So we took small samples, we tested them, we got the report that this is organic and very safe for human consumption. So we multiplied that seed in smaller farms, and that's how we have standardized pearl millet sorghum with us. And we grow our own millets. Like, of course, our farmer network grows for us, and then we purchase it. So the first challenge was to, from the seed, from millet seed, that is not available, accessible for general consumer, the original seed. So we had to procure it and do a lot of work around there, the technological, the agriculture part of that. And then yes, there was the awareness problem. A lot of my younger cousins, they didn't know what bajra means. They didn't know what is pearl millet. We started in 2019, just before corona. So people were not aware about millets, like the general consumer. So of course, the awareness was a huge issue. There was education issue. Why should I choose millet and not wheat? What is the problem? And people we worked in communities wherein people were not aware that the medicine, the diabetes medicine that they're taking, or a high BP medicine that they're taking, can be fixed using small interventions like changing your diet, making diversifying your grains. You can, once a while, you can obviously introduce millets in your diet. They didn't know what high fiber biscuit means, because in generally, if you look around the market, the high fiber biscuits are those biscuits wherein they make it from refined wheat, and then they add a very chemically loaded version of fibers, and then they call it high fiber cookie. But for millet, or any if your cookie is made with millets, it's anyways giving you 14-15% of dietary fibers. So yes, at every level, whether you see it, the technological part of it, then the consumer acquisition part of it, and then there's a lot of business problem. We don't come from a business family. We're not heavily rich. We were actually using our savings, what we from our jobs and everything, to from the capital cost, the cash flow, the inventory, there's so many issues. And the place where I come from, if I call a distributor or a vendor for a product, they used to ask whether, don't you have a man out there whom I can speak to? Why there's a lady coming to my factory and asking for for this shipment? So, and we never, in fact, this never came to our mind that we are becoming a manufacturing person, or we didn't know business. What we know was, okay, I want to make good food. That is all. And it was a very since we are building from scratch, it has been a challenging journey, but also interesting. I think if things came by easy, I don't think I would have enjoyed the journey.
Yeah. So I'm sure from understanding the workflow to the challenges that we have, like the stereotype, gender stereotype, that's great, Tanushree. Of course, when we are talking about challenges, how can we not ask Benzi about his challenges? I'm sure working with a lot of startups and other entrepreneurs must be a challenge, and then asking you or training youth again. So working with youth, what was your challenges, Benzi?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think if there's one thing I've learned in this journey, it's like motivation is not enough. You have to be disciplined throughout the journey, because when at times when people are starting like entrepreneurs, especially young people, they don't understand the workload that is ahead. At times they are driven by motivation in such a way that when they do hit the rock, and they don't know what to do. And I feel like that is where discipline comes in. So I think, like, talking about challenges, starting up, I was just like any young person. I was just passionate about the whole this thing. Let me go out there, do this. And at times when you're driven by passion, you take certain decisions based on your passion, and you don't get to have like a roadmap of where you're going to. And that has been like a huge challenge. But somewhere along the line, when you get to have like a roadmap, it guides you. So, and at times when you get to ask, and if you ask me like at first, or what was your challenge, was I basically just talk about access to finances. But when you get to like work through this, you see that you get to understand that human capital tends to be more important, because getting the right people to work with, it's primordial if you want to build something that is sustainable. And I think like when I started, it was just about how do I get the finances. But now I think like more as I dive into the business sector, I try to understand who are the people that I get on board.
I think your screen is free.
Who are the people that are working to build whatever thing that
Your screen is freezing. Meanwhile, I request the audience to just jump in
I'm
and
currently building with. Yeah, I want to be sure that you can hear me, please. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think like
so there is like your screen is getting freeze. Now it's perfect.
okay, thank you very much. And also, like, I think like when I started, I ventured into something that was new, a social venture. It's not like it's the typical for profit world that we know, or the non-profit world that we know. And I think like not understanding the model of how a social venture operates was also like a challenge for me, because you get to have like conflicting interests of what you're building, whether you're going to just do this for free, like it operates in a non-profit world, or you're just going to do this like for profit. And I think like for me, defining that it was very important. And I keep redefining and defining that as we progress as a business. So I think like that has been like my challenge for me, and I keep moving and evolving as we grow as a business.
See, I also want to, understand that the community that you develop, the community, you work with the communities, you do a lot of work with young people. How do you have your own defined model that you work and work with the community, or is it something that you go by some learning that you have learned in the past or while graduating?
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, I really love the question, because, like I said, when we started, and that has been like a challenge for us, was where do we start? Because we didn't have like a defined model on how we wanted to operate this. It was just like you just go there the next day, do whatever thing you do, and you come back, see if there was progress. And I think like also we didn't have like the mechanism to measure impact, what impact we are making. But as we progress, we are defining like a real defined model. What do we do? What systems are we putting in place to achieve the result that we want? I think like for now, I won't say that we clearly have the model in place, but we have a model that we're working and we're testing to see which one works best, because we have to bring in like different modules in place.
Great, that's great. So we would love to know what model you shortlist and what model you finalize. And also, Tanushree, I would like to know that, do you faced, since when we talk about challenges with the youth, I want to understand, do you face the challenges with the farmers, as in, do you have any farmer who was working on wheat and now you actually educated them that, working with millet would be a lot much better our land for all those factors that come into when it comes to millet farming. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So our major work is in Rajasthan. So Rajasthan's farming pattern is very different to other parts of India. Now, so obviously we didn't connect with farmers who are actually doing wheat or something. We tried reaching out to small farmers, marginal farmers. Why? Because they have smaller lands and a lot of the land is barren. So, and millet, the best part of millet is they can be grown in barren land. And in fact, we did our first trial of jawar, that is sorghum, in a barren land. A farmer, very small farmer, could grow our sorghum in his field. So around the challenge part, since millet itself is, if I may say, it's a newer concept for millennials and Gen Zs. Okay, our forefathers knew it. They were having it, but now this demand and supply mechanism has to grow. If you and me or anybody of us is farming, bringing all the hard work, doing all those chores, and they did not get money, obviously they won't be interested. So in terms of farmers, their first question was, how much money I'm going to get, how big of this thing going to scale. Because when we started, in fact, a lot of farmers told us, there's nobody's growing bajra, nobody's taking, who's gonna eat? See, this is the bajra that we are growing for ourselves. It's still it's lying there, nobody's interested. Our own children are not eating millet. So, and then from there to giving them our cookie boxes and telling them that this product is going to international markets also. was obviously, it's a great feeling. So yeah, in terms of farmers, I won't call it a challenge as such, because it's, part of the journey. You wanted to innovate on something, and obviously you're going to face those hurdles. So these were some of the issues that we faced initially.
And do you have some farmers who are really excited, really happy when they moved from wheat to millet? Their land has shown positive results or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes, since the prices are up now, and since our prime minister has been speaking about millets a lot, then the United Nations declared International Year of Millet, and then there's so much of publication around millet. So yes, this gives them validation. This gives them hope that they're on the right path and they should grow millet. And the wonderful part of this journey is, now that people started consuming millet regularly, and they're seeing a reduction in their the disturbed blood sugar or higher BP, and that people are now realizing that millets can be very therapeutic. So now this another validation that comes from this urban population telling farmers that they should grow millet. So I think overall it is very hopeful, and I mean, it's growing. The whether the validation to farmers or whether as a market, this is being very hopeful.
Yeah, that's great. So also with that, Bense, I would like to understand that do you have worked with the demand and supply part of working with the farmers? So for example, if they are working on a different product, let's suppose millet, it's wheat, and the demand is of millet. So does these challenges are also there you have faced like on the ground level? Understand, making them understand just not the model, but also working as per the demand and the supply.
Yeah, please, can you repeat the question again? I didn't quite.
Okay, no problem. I'm saying that have you working, since you work a lot on the ground level, have you also faced this challenge of demand and supply where the demand is different, but the ground level, the youth you are working with are working on different product or different material to be in particular, and you have, I know you educate them, you provide them, and you make them understand the technology and everything. So just wanted to understand more about it.
Okay, you mean like the challenges, the demand supply challenges for the customers or for the people?
Yes. Yes.
I think like and before I come to that, there's something that she said that was also very interesting about getting like the interest of the farmers or people that you're working with. I think like when you start, and especially for me working with young people, they still have the mindset and the conception that this is not something for us, and it just has to do with how much you can convince them. That was just an aside, but let me come back to your question that you asked. I think when you work with farmers, there are times that we call like a season of, let me just use it, a season of plenty and a season of less. And what we try to do is how do we strike that balance? And I think like that's why we try to work with a diverse young people and a diverse sector where we could manage that value chain. How, or within the season of plenty harvest, how can they, those that are in the processing sector, how do they process what is there, and how do they within the season of like less, how can we meet up with the demand? But I think like it's always a challenge. Also, the challenge is there. We cannot dispute the fact that the challenge is not there. I think like there are times that the demand and the supply it fluctuates a lot, and especially in with let me use the word increased population, because we're moving and the population is increasing, and there's a variety in the demand for what people need. Also, it's also there's also that disparity, and having to meet that, having to understand what other people need and supplying exactly that is also like a huge challenge. And because you're dealing with a variety, and she said something also earlier when we started about health concerns and everything. I think like all these things boils into one box because at times people need products also that are tailored towards their health need and so on. So it's also like how do we balance that gap between the demand and the supply, whether it's the demand and supply for farmers needing the seeds for their products, or the demand and the supply for those in the market needing the products that they want, or for the various households. So it's like a whole system, and it depends on how well the system can be managed, because that challenge it's going to be there, but it depends on how it's being managed.
Yes, definitely. It depends upon how it has been managed and how the people work around it. So definitely. I would like to request the audience, if they have any question, to jump in here and send your question. Keep sending your question in the chat section, and we would definitely ask a question to our panelists. And with that, I would also, we are just reaching towards the end of the session. And with that, I would like both of you to let us, since this is about youth, motivating youth, we work with youth a lot. So what is your message for the youth, the youth who is listening to you or who would be listening to this video in the past? What is your message for that, for these people? So let's start with Benzel.
Okay, thank you very much. Like, I always love the question, like, oh, your message for the youth. And I think like we have a very curious generation right now of young people that are trying, venturing into a lot of things, trying to build a system, building this innovation. And my message is just going to be like, not just for the youth, but also for the leaders. That's why I want to provide this in two ways. Like for young people, what I would say is you have to go after your dreams, do whatever thing it takes. They are valid. But like I said before, motivation is not enough. You have to have the discipline to build whatever thing you're building. And at the end of the day, while doing that, you should also like take care of your mental health and have as much fun as possible, because like this is your space and you get to do whatever it takes to achieve or whatever dreams you have set or whatever purpose you have for yourself. And for people like leaders and so, I think like most of the times they don't get to believe in young people. And this is like the time for them to start believing and investing in young people, because I don't think like young people are the future, they are the now. And if you look at it critically, you see what young people are building, how they're transforming the world, whether it's in climate change or so. You see most of the activists, they are young people. It's through a young person like someone like Mark Zuckerberg, someone at 20-something years is able to transform the world to have what we have now. And if we don't start investing in these young people, we're going to miss like a greater part of it. So while young people are doing their best to build a better world for themselves, I think like it's also time for leaders to start giving them these spaces to be able to bring in whatever thing they're building to life.
Right, that's so hit on the nail, Benzie. I mean, definitely, I cannot agree more with you. And with that, I would definitely request all the youth who are listening to you to follow your dreams and your passion. And Tanushree, what is your message for the youth?
Yes, I really like Benzit's comment that youth is not the future; they're the now, and it's wonderful that you said that. So, from me, I think as an Indian entrepreneur, I think I would ask them to be more responsible. We did industrialization. There were so many movements that we wanted the growth and development, but we were not very careful on the steps that we were taking. We didn't know that the climate crisis would become so big, or things like that. I want them to be very responsible on what are the steps they are taking. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to sound very nice about it, but I want the youth to be little uncomfortable, because I think we've been very lazy in terms of, because the information is just out there, and things are very accessible, and probably I think over information is there, so people have stopped innovating, and people have stopped, I think, creating a lot of stuff. And if I can ask Indian youth to be I mean, the fundamentals of businesses remain same. You have to be hardworking. You have to get creative, and you have to think out of the box. And if you can do that, if you can be the person who can not only solve maybe a food problem or technological problem or a farming problem, you can also generate employment. That'll be great as an economy and as a country wherein 35% of us are under that can be called youth. I think it's our time that we become the global leader of you know in terms of our economic, commerce, heritage, agriculture, so many fields, that we take the right step and be responsible and become world leaders.
Right, absolutely. So all the youth who are listening us, you are the now, and we are highly dependent on you to invest in this future, in the social entrepreneur, all the entrepreneurship, and be the change. As Mahatma Gandhi, there's a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "Be the change you want to see in the world." So with that, I would thank our panelists, our incredible audience who was being so polite and so gentle and listening to our whole conversation. Thank you so much. And this is definitely about harvesting hope. This webinar of harvesting hope, forging a sustainable future in water, food, and energy. Definitely, youth can make a change with this. And with that, I would also request Dr. Amit to say a few words to the youth.
Thank you so much, Shweta, and thanks a lot, Binzay and Tanushree, for having a wonderful discussion on this very, very, very important topic. I think both of you are like the youth ambassadors who are now here to motivate the people out there, and you're making our work a little easy now. And we look forward to having more discussions like these. And I think it's wonderful to see how, Binzay, you are doing great work by serving the community of farmers, by collecting them together and involving youth in that, because this is one of the key concerns, especially countries like India have, that we don't have future farmers available. And as in most of the farming is going to industrial farmers. And thanks to you, Tanushree, for sourcing your millets from small scale farmers. I think that's a wonderful step that you have taken, because that not only will help those farmers to sustain their livelihood, but will also improve overall the nutrition of the community. I think millets, I myself is a witness to it, but millets is one of the best source of nutrition across. And I think India is ranking quite low in the nutrition ranking, but I think millets is the answer to it. And that's why we are celebrating this year as a millet year. And I'm really curious to check out your snacks that you have prepared. We look forward to having those and see if we can like scale those up in different cities as well. That will be good. And I think you tap the right market. I think snacks is the right market for youth. Maybe they generally have the right food at home, but when they go out, they eat snacks, and that's what is increasing or changing the lifestyle, and that's causing the major problem. So thank you so much, Binzay and Tanushree, for having highlighted the most important concerns all of us are facing. And you not only are like social entrepreneurs and doing work, but I think you are also motivating others moving forward. That's the most important part. You are not just stopping here, you are moving forward and motivating others to join you. And in the end, you're also serving the community at the end of the day. And that's the most important part of change making overall is. And harvesting hope, the webinar today is all about this, that how can we as youth contribute towards solving these biggest challenges by looking at the challenge and saying that how can this challenge be solved, rather than saying how can we solve this challenge only. So the collaboration is the key, and the way you have been working in a collaborative way, I think you have miles to go. And I think we wish you all the best for all your future endeavors, and the kind of work that you're doing, it should grow multifolds, as we say. Thank you once again, Shweta, for hosting it wonderfully and by making it so much engaging. I enjoyed every bit of it, every moment of it. It's quite an eye opener for a lot of stuff that I heard, and I think it's really great for our audience as well. There have been requests of sharing your websites. I think Tanushri will be getting orders soon, so we'll share the website as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in from different parts of the globe, and we'll see you soon again with another series of webinars. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and all the best to both of you. And yes, thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Thanks a lot.